Hello everyone. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to today's live session. My name is Siddharth. Dr. Mansi, Vora is with me. I hope you're all doing well. I hope my voice is clear. Mansi, can you say a big hello to everyone?
Hello everyone. Hello guys. Are
I
we
hope,
both audible?
yes, I hope that both our voices are audible. I hope that I don't have to interrupt the stream to do this big sound engineering magic in the middle to fix both of our mics and the whole internet on time. OP Naimisha, thank you so much. Devanshi, welcome. Aditya, welcome. Chaitali, good to see you. Sanil Abraham, hello. Sanat, hi. All right, awesome. So we already have 70 people online waiting to learn about psychology, about imposter syndrome. Mansi, I'm
About themselves.
yes, about themselves. This whole thing is about themselves. It is okay to be selfish. Let's just put it out there right now. It is okay to be selfish. It is completely okay if each one of you is here on this live stream because you only care about yourself. That is how it should be. Learning starts as a selfish motive, and so I hope that everybody is feeling selfish and everybody wants to learn today. In this topic, Mansi, so imposter syndrome, I have been so curious about it for so long because I have felt it here and there, actually more here than there. I've all felt it quite strongly for a long period of time. And what I realized is that, hey, everybody feels it a little bit. So I'm so glad that we are talking about it. Mansi, what do you think about imposter syndrome?
Right. So I mean, the name is quite self-explanatory, but the first time I heard about it, I also had some confusion about some other syndromes that are there in psychiatry.
Right.
We'll come to it a little later, but
Sure.
imposter, I mean, as easy as it gets, someone who's disguising himself or herself as
Someone else.
better than what they are, right? I mean, as someone else for some personal gains.
Correct.
So though it's not a diagnostic criteria, it's not like a DSM diagnostic criteria. So I can't write on paper that this person has this, according to this diagnostic criteria, but it's very much a real thing. I mean, like you said, you felt it very often. I felt it quite often.
Yeah.
And I like to say that everyone feels it. There's nothing wrong in having some amount of fleeting self-doubt. In psychiatry, there's nothing that is absolute wrong or absolute right, apart from a few things. I mean, schizophrenia is an absolute illness. You have to treat it. But anxiety, low mood, ये सब तो वैसे भी रोज सबको होता है. थोड़ी घबराहट सबको होती है, थोड़ा उदासी सबको होता है.
Okay.
What makes it abnormal or what makes it worth driving your attention towards it is the proportion.
Right.
Fleeting self-doubt is absolutely all right. But if that doubt does not get sorted even with reassurance, or even when there is enough evidence to say that, okay, you're doing good, or for an anxious person, someone who feels that I'm going to die because of palpitations, and when their ECG gets done, that ECG should be able to tell them that, okay, you're all right, and they should be able to settle down. It's this not settling down that we need to talk about.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Couple of things that you said really resonated. One, in that you said the term fleeting self-doubt, and the key word there being fleeting. It should, so we all have that moment of self-doubt that am I good enough? ये हर एक के लाइफ में होता है, कभी भी हो सकता है. At some point somewhere you have this thought that did I oversell myself? Did I मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा ही advertise नहीं कर दिया खुद को? And usually what should ideally happen is that it should pass, motivate you. You should actually reach that level and it should be fleeting. The whole discussion today is that what happens if it is not fleeting?
Not fleeting, absolutely.
Correct. Okay. Another thing that you said was how there is no right and wrong. Now, you said schizophrenia. I don't want to go too deep into it, but the idea of split minds, so I have always thought that even there is a spectrum, because somewhere we all play with identities a little bit, that you are one person in one situation and you are not exactly the same person in another situation. So do you think that even there you can introduce the element of spectrum?
So now I'll just try to wind it off in a minute, but there are various theories of how maybe the sounds that they hear, maybe the symptoms that they feel are actually how a bat would hear other sonic sounds that we can't hear.
Right.
In the same way, maybe they have some other capacities that we don't know, but just because they don't fit into the normal, we treat them as abnormal. But I would like to say one thing. Anyone who loses touch with reality, anyone who forgets what the real, so you may be having a split personality or some elements of your personality changing for a while, but you still are very much real. The moment you lose touch with reality, that's when it's a problem. So there are a few things.
Got it.
We should keep it. Reality is gone. Right.
Understood.
But these are the things that are very much normal. Like, who doesn't feel anxious? If I'm gonna miss my flight, I'm definitely gonna have anxiety.
Right.
Does that make me a patient of anxiety disorder? No. It's those emotions which stay for an inappropriate period of time. That's what makes or breaks you. That's what decides whether you should seek help.
Correct.
So this fleeting self-doubt, like we spoke, it should motivate you. I mean, that doubt is very much necessary for you to actually do better, for actually putting in that kind of work.
Right.
We discussed last time that fear is necessary. If fear is not there, you're probably gonna end up being too reckless.
Yes.
In the same way, if you never have doubts about yourself, you'll be too content with what you are and you'll probably never grow. But it should be fleeting and it should get reassured when there is evidence that, okay, so if I'm doubtful before coming for this session, I should be, trying to do better. But once I see those comments of Mansi OP, I should be happy, right?
Okay, I think
that does not happen, it's a problem.
I think that's a call for Mansi OP in the chat.
It's not.
It was very subtle. Guys, I don't know if you picked it up. It was very subtle. But I think
try.
I think Mansi wants to see that. So, okay, I mean, Mansi, you are getting Mansi OP in the chat. So,
guys, though I can't see
what a coincidence. Why? I wonder why they are putting Mansi OP in the chat.
Guys, I mean, it's just an example, but I'm happy to get it.
Right. Now, tell me this, Mansi. Why is it important? Why are we talking about imposter syndrome?
Right. So, why are we talking? I think we should. So first, let us understand, and then we'll definitely understand gradually why is it even important to talk about imposter syndrome.
Right.
So, there's a lot of history about it, but like somewhere around the 1978, I think the first time it was reported by Dr. Paul.
Okay.
And she, whatever, he or she, I'm not entirely sure what is the name. Oh God, I'm so bad at names. So anyway, so she came up with this syndrome and she saw it in a lot of women achievers, like high achievers who were women.
Okay.
But as they went on studying, she had another partner and they had done PhD in psychology. Is someone mentioning the name? Paul C something?
No, not yet. Probably they may find out.
Paul C is something. Paul C. But okay, whatever.
Can someone check who is the
check.
person? Yeah. Okay. But you continue with the story, Mansi.
Yeah, sure. So she first noticed it in noticed it in high women achievers.
Yeah.
And as they went on studying it more and more, they realized that there are many more people, and not just women, even men who are affected, with this imposter syndrome. And how they even came to that conclusion that there's this entity is that these were women who had really achieved a lot. There was enough evidence to say that they were very good. But these women constantly felt like, oh no, I've reached here purely because of luck, purely because of mere chance, and I'm not up to my position. I'm not as intelligent, and I've tricked my peers into believing I'm so intelligent and someday I'm gonna get caught. They
Right.
constantly had this feeling of being a fraud who was tricking people, or not intentionally, but not revealing their real side, or they always felt that people don't know how insecure I am, or people don't know how incapable I am at certain things, even though there were enough evidences to say that they were good. So, big CEOs of various companies, or people who gotten a lot of awards and lot of degrees, something that not every regular person can achieve.
Yeah.
And yet they felt, oh, someday everyone's gonna come to know that I am not so good, and then probably gonna revoke my
Will take all
degree
this
or my
away.
this. Right,
Okay.
right, right.
Okay.
So,
So 1 second. Couple of things. One, the chart is awesome. It was identified in 1978 by psychologists Pauline Rose Clancy and Suzanne Imes.
yeah,
Suzanne
IMES,
Imes, probably.
IMES,
Imes, yes.
IMES, yeah.
And that was one. And so there are a few questions that we will take them all together. I had asked on Instagram as well. And so a few people had put out some really good comments. So we will take them all together. Maya Angelou had imposter syndrome. Oh, okay.
She did. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, wow, that's
Someone
incredible.
has
Somebody as accomplished as her. Okay.
Right.
Now, in the off chance that there is somebody in the chat lucky enough to have never felt imposter syndrome and who doesn't know what imposter syndrome is, can I just take 1 minute to sort of describe what it is according to me and like what I've read and what I've felt? So, it's basically when you think that other people think that you are a fraud, and that all the things that you are famous for or you are getting recognized for is kind of like a scam. You are tricking people into believing that you are that good, and actually you are not that good, is what you are thinking. And even if there is evidence, so even if more and more people come to you, congratulate you, like, oh, you are so awesome, you did so much. In fact, the more they come and say it, the more you feel that, oh God, they will catch me. They will catch me. One of these days, they are going to find out that I am not that good. And when they praise you, you don't believe them. In your mind, you're going, inko pata nahi actually, like how, how silly I am, how stupid I am. And you have to put in more and more of an effort to hide that part of you. And whatever success you are getting, you think that ये सब मेरे वजह से नहीं हुआ, ये सब luck था, coincidence की वजह से हो गया है, and if I had to do it again, I may not be able to do it.
Right,
Maybe.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So one correction.
Yeah.
They don't think that others think I'm a fraud. They themselves think I'm a fraud.
Oh.
And they feel that अब तक पता नहीं है लोगों को, पर किसी दिन पता चलेगा. Someday they'll come to know.
Understood.
I think rest of it was all correct.
Yeah.
Just this one part.
You yourself think.
Yeah. You yourself think, oh, I'm a fraud. I look so intelligent, but I know how much I really know, and I'm not telling them the truth. So I'm deceiving them. So that's what they feel.
Damn.
So a few examples. If you know Sheryl Sandberg, she was the CEO of Facebook.
Yeah.
She has claimed that she used to have these imposter phenomenon, like symptoms. And Tom Hanks, अगर Tom Hanks को हो सकता है तो हम किस खेत की मूली हैं?
How? Why? Okay.
I know, absolutely. So, and why do we need to talk about it? Is because, like we said, fleeting है तो वो reassurance के साथ आपका, you'll get better. I mean, you'll understand. But when someone has imposter syndrome, they live in this constant fear. Just imagine yourself traveling ticketless, and you're constantly having palpitations. TC आ गया तो.
Damn.
This is like that, living all your life, doing everything, and yet feeling, I'm gonna get caught. I'm gonna screw this up. I'm gonna be, fired. People are gonna come to know someday. And these are the biggest things in your life. You've given your life to this.
Yeah.
So this constant fear and the stress to live up to the expectations that you have built in your mind, these people put in too much effort, which in the long run causes chronic stress, which leads to
so much problem. Yeah.
Right. So much. We'll talk about it in detail, but it leads to psychological and physical manifestations.
Right. And then it becomes like a loop. And when you just said Tom Hanks, I thought, how can he, feel imposter syndrome? And then I realized that that is exactly the kind of thing we say about depression.
Absolutely.
Because somebody who seems very happy and then you find out that they have depressed or they attempted even self-harm and you think, Arey, wo bande ne kyun kiya? Matlab, he has everything. How? And it is such an important thing to remember that mental health is very different from what you see outside. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I mean, it's a good point you raised because I've heard this a lot of times. Ma'am, ये तो हंसती खेलती थी, इसको कैसे हो गया?
Exactly.
So just like how you could, you've never had a fracture in your life, but you still have it someday. That does not mean that since you were walking properly all these days, you can't get a fracture. So you have to understand that these questions can't be asked in mental health. How can this person get it?
Yeah.
Do you want to take some questions or should we go ahead?
Okay, I'll just see what chat is talking about, because last time I did this and then I turned to chat and I had no idea what they were saying. They were on this completely different trip and I couldn't even join in because I didn't know where the conversation started.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
So, okay, Miss Nonchalant said, does procrastination, depression and imposter syndrome have any connection? So there is for sure. I think we will get to that later.
Yes.
Serena Williams had imposter syndrome apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't aware. Wow.
Yeah. So is inferiority complex the same as imposter syndrome?
No, inferiority complex is a big spectrum.
Right.
One of the reasons could be imposter syndrome.
Yeah, got it. So Karthika said, I do feel a strong case of this syndrome whenever I take up a challenging project, but I feel like I've begun feeling this more since I have been reading about this syndrome.
Right. So, like, awareness is a double-edged sword. Sometimes I'm very scared of telling my patients about the side effects because I know if I tell them, they're going to
feel
get
it. Oh wow,
right,
this is
right.
You are so correct, and it actually puts an ethical dilemma on us, because on the one hand you want to tell them, but on the other hand, if you tell them, you're actually making them suffer more, because then they will go through all that.
They will go through that, but it's our choice how we want to use the awareness. If you are aware about a certain phenomenon, you can also make yourself self-aware of how to deal with it.
Right.
Not being aware is like you're not even trying, right?
Yes.
Absolute ignorance. Like you're not even entering the battle. Now, since you're halfway, you learn more about how to deal with it and you'll get over it.
Correct. So half awareness is a problem.
Half awareness is a problem.
It's the Chakravyu in Mahabharata. Like, you know how to get in and you can't get out.
You can't get out, right.
Okay, excellent. All right. So I think I'll take the rest of the questions in a while. Guys, I have to ask you to please hit that like and subscribe, because that number of likes makes a big difference, and I would really appreciate that. And also, I'm going to remind you that I've put Mansi's Instagram handle on the description, and she puts up a lot of these comments and really interesting posts on her Instagram channel. So please go and follow her on Instagram. All right, Mansi, back to this conversation.
Right. Okay, so now that we've spoken that these are people who really achieved a lot, but don't have the confidence in themselves, or they have this ability to completely disregard the compliments that they get or the positive feedback they get. Now it's important to understand why and how this happens. There are various theories that people have put up, but there's not one theory that they've been able to really point the laser at, that this is the one. But I mean, let's go through a few.
Sure.
So what they said was that from maybe this is a protective phenomenon. Maybe this whole anticipatory anxiety that you have before a particular situation is probably a sort of a protective phenomenon. Like if your body feels that this is a threatening situation, then maybe your body tries to put you in that mode where you can either have the flight sort of a thing.
Got it.
This is a maybe, right? I mean, going on a stage may not always be frightening, but there would be a lot of other situations that could be scary for you, and maybe your body is protecting you from those episodes.
Right. Like sort of like a trial run.
Right.
Like you are,
I think the body is actually trying to gauge the situation. When you're anxious, the body is trying to understand if it is really that scary. And so that is, they say that this is from the evolutionary point of view, but this is just a hypothesis, so we don't know.
Understood.
They
So you're
also
trying to
said that
explain why imposter syndrome happens,
why?
right? Okay.
What could be happening in the body, or
Got
what
it.
would be the changes that how psychology, psychiatry, neurobiology, how all these things have tried to explain what could be happening.
Right.
One theory that really caught my fancy, or that I found very convincing, was there's something called effort reward imbalance. So what this said was, a lot of these people, when we put in some effort and we get a reward, it has to be proportionate, right? If I'm running 1,000 miles and if I win a marathon, then the proportion is there, right? I've put in so much effort and I've
you've got so much reward. Yeah.
Equivalent.
Correct.
Right. But what happens in people who have imposter syndrome is that they put in a lot of effort, but whenever they get positive feedback, they have this tendency to attribute it to luck, or attribute it to, oh, I had worked so hard, I'm not really that talented, I just put in so much work, anyone would have done it. If a donkey were to do so much hard work, even he would be able to clear it. So this attribution, either so the reward, whatever people come and tell them, whatever feedback is given, they are not really able to feel that positive feedback. That goes in, but it does not tap their reward center. Whenever we do something that is good, that something that is like an accomplishment, something that we like, good food, a pastry, whatever, going on the stage, winning a competition, our reward center gets tapped.
Correct.
And the problem with these people is that their reward center, which should release dopamine whenever there is an achievement, वो dopamine का release उतना होता नहीं है. There isn't enough release of the dopamine.
Okay.
So they don't feel as happy. Now there are various reasons why this does not happen. Why the dopamine release does not happen. They say that this dopamine release that should happen whenever the reward center is tapped, that also has a tolerance.
Okay.
So our modern society, what do we look at? Today for us, our self-esteem is based on our achievements. Whenever you achieve something, at that time, your reward center, it's like a switch. The switch is, you switch it on. The reward center is switched on.
You try something, you get it. You try something, you get it, and you get a reward. And if that reward isn't as much as, say, you were expecting, you will have that sense of कुछ तो रह गया है, कुछ तो कम है.
कुछ तो रह गया है. Got it. Right.
Got it.
So when we a simple example, when I eat an ice cream, my reward center is switched on, and there's release of dopamine. So I feel great about it, and now this gets stored in my brain in various areas, one of them being hippocampus, as okay, this experience was amazing, I should do this again.
Right.
Because the dopamine was released. But because in these people, the positive feedback does not register with them as much as it should, that episode is not registered as something great,
something positive,
that they should do again. Something positive.
Right. Okay.
So this is one theory that I felt was good, which I felt was a very valid explanation. Is the chat with us, or
yes?
Should we try to explain it?
We will. I'll just take a couple of questions because I think that this was a little technical. 1 second. Jay Chavda, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Ankit Biswas. The whole human system. What were you referring to about the whole human system? Usually software. No. Amrita, is imposter syndrome medical in nature, or is it more surface level? What I mean is, does it involve actual changes in hormones and chemicals like depression does? So Amrita, I believe that everything is chemical in nature eventually, if you go down deep enough, and even imposter syndrome can be explained by that neurochemical circuitry.
I just couldn't hear anything. I lost
Okay, yeah, I think your video had also frozen, Mansi. Are you back? Can you hear me now?
I'm very much here.
All right. So we were talking of how everything can be a neurochemical network problem if you go down deep enough.
Everything. So if there's anything that is not explained by a neurochemical thing, it's only because we've not studied it enough.
Yeah.
Everything is neurochemical. Everything.
Yeah. True. So then, okay. 1 second, Mansi. I think that what we are going to do is we are getting to a level where we are trying to explain the why of it, but before we get too deep there, because once we go there, I also want to introduce a bit of neuroanatomy.
Right.
And yeah, so I just wanted to sort of reverse a little bit and talk about what happens in our lives. So when we all face imposter syndrome in different situations, just so that we all know what we are talking about and how we can relate to it. So you mentioned something about when they did the study, they did it on women who are working. And can you tell me more about that? Because that instinct, I get that. I get why, because women, when they start to work, they have a lot of different roles to fulfill. So it's possible that could trigger something like this. Is that part of the problem?
It is. So that comes to there's also a socio-cultural context to this. There's also a psychosocial, like we call it. So women tend to internalize a lot of things that happen. So if a guy is criticized, if a male is criticized, he'll probably try to improve. He'll probably try to do better. He'll probably try to put in more effort. But if a lady is not given a positive feedback, or if the lady gets a positive feedback, but because of her own inability to take that feedback very well, she internalizes it, and she feels that, okay, now I have another proof of how inefficient I am.
Okay, so for me, when I hear this, I feel like that is a loop, because it also depends on where you're starting from. So it's so unfair though. Like, it is so fundamentally unfair, because your sense of who you should be is given to you partly by society.
Right.
And then when you try to become more than that, the same society sort of tries to pull you down, and then you are stuck in that loop. And then every time you fail even a little bit, that loop becomes worse.
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
Very true. So that's how why women, and I also feel that women were more vocal about it. That's why they got to know that, okay, I mean, that's how it was even, like, it came to surface. But as they did more and more studies on it, even men were supposed to have this. So now trying to understand who can get this. Okay, we're talking about it, but then who can get this?
Yeah.
Practically all of us.
Exactly.
Practically all of us.
Exactly. It's not women and men, it's everyone. Right.
Right. And apparently, I mean, about 70% of the people that like exist anywhere across the globe, across continents, 70% is the general prevalence, which is such a high number. Such a high number. That almost feels like I'm in the normal range.
Exactly. If you're not feeling it, then it's a problem. So Shashank has asked, could humility be sometimes be an effect of imposter syndrome?
Yes, I think so.
That's an interesting question, actually.
So a lot of people who are very modest, or like he said, like really humble. Probably they don't even know they are that great. In their mind they are thinking, oh, I'm nothing. Like, why are these people even praising me? It's possible, but I would still like to believe that humility is a virtue and not a flaw.
Correct. It could be. So what could happen is that other people could think that, oh, this guy is so humble, whereas actually he's just imposter syndrome. Like, he just thinks that
he doesn't even.
I don't deserve
it. He genuinely thinks, right? He genuinely thinks I'm bad.
Correct.
So, but there are few people, like there are few character traits that make you more prone. There are few things in your environment that you make you more prone. So people, like children who've been raised in an environment in their families where achievement was everything, and where the parenting was very critical in terms of parents would criticize a lot if you didn't achieve up to a certain mark. So all you end up doing is you keep on equating your self-esteem to just those achievements, to those achievements that your parents felt were worthy or you felt were worthy. But there's so much more to a person's personality. But these are the people who tend to keep on looking at achievements as, uh, you know,
Like a marker,
as
like
marker,
a
as a
self
marker.
marker of who I
Right, right.
am. Am I worth it?
Self-worth, right? That's how they measure their self-worth. But then because they're also used to constantly proving their self-worth
Yeah.
to their parents and to themselves, this is,
Yeah.
so that's why it doesn't say stay stable. Then another personality trait is the OCPD people, like the perfectionists.
Yeah.
So the perfectionists are highly prone to having imposter syndrome because they set such impossible standards for themselves.
Ouch. Okay.
Confession, yeah. Guilty, absolutely guilty of that. So,
Yeah.
such high standards for themselves that they're unrealistic standards, and like an inch below that standard, and they just think that, oh my god, I was hopeless, I just didn't do good.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you've attained 95%, you should have a self-worth equivalent to that 95%, or a sense of reward equivalent to that 95%. But no, it crashes down to maybe 20-30%, sometimes even in the minus, like,
Yeah.
I screwed it up,
It's
that
just,
sort of thing.
yeah, because it's binary, right? Either you're perfect or you're
Or you're
worthless.
just bad, yeah, or you're
Correct.
just gone.
It's not like you are 1% less than perfect, because that is the problem with perfectionism, because it's all or none. And that
It's
is,
all or none.
oh god, that is so fundamentally flawed, because perfection itself is such a hypothetical state, and it keeps changing. It's you are never going to reach there, because as soon as you reach there, it's changed. The level has changed.
And a perfectionism, so it's not an absolute truth. I like to always talk about everything as absolute truths or relative truths. It's a relative truth. I may think I've made the best rangoli on the planet, it's perfect, but to someone else it may be like really flawed.
Correct.
So it's very subjective, it's very individual, like each one's standard is different. So
Right.
how do you measure yourself over there? Like, there's nothing to measure that.
The only absolute truth is that you think you have made a perfect rangoli. That is an absolute truth.
Which should be there.
That is there. Correct. So that is the only thing. You cannot say that this is the perfect rangoli, because there is no such thing.
Such thing.
Damn. Okay. So apparently people have been diagnosing themselves with imposter syndrome because of our talk now. People are like, I didn't even know I have imposter syndrome till I...
So I've written the same thing. A lot of people are going through this, but they don't even know it has a name. So this is like the Namkaran of your symptoms.
Guys, we are so sorry.
No, I
If
mean,
you've been diagnosed with imposter syndrome, please see your doctor.
no, I just feel it's good to be aware. It's
Yeah.
good to be aware, and it's good to help yourself. It's
Yeah.
good to tell yourself that, okay, maybe I'm just being too harsh on myself and I'm better than what I'm thinking of myself as.
Right.
So, why it's important to know once again is because when someone has imposter syndrome, there are two cycles, like there are two different patterns in which this operates. So, either because you have imposter syndrome, you're full of self-doubt. So, what you do is whenever there's a task that you're supposed to complete, you either procrastinate it because you're fearful in your mind, you're anxious that you might not be, able to live up to the expectations, and
Right.
the results may not be so good. So you're trying to push it as much as you can because it's not a pleasant experience to you. And then you do it just in the nick of time, like just when you're supposed to submit
Yeah,
it.
last minute.
Right.
Yeah.
And since we are talking about achievers here, see, everyone is an achiever in their own right. So you managed to put across something. When you get a positive regard for that something, you're like, oh, but it's purely because of luck. Like, I just did something in the last moment and, it just turned out well.
Yeah.
And you just attribute it to luck.
Damn.
And you don't give any credit to yourself, saying that, okay, at least I could manage to do this much in this much time.
Yeah.
So what happens is either you procrastinate it and you still somehow manage to do it, but you again don't allow the positive feedback to settle in, to make the impact that it could have made impact, and then you're again in this self-doubt mode.
Basically, you just don't allow yourself to feel good.
You don't allow yourself to feel good. That's the problem. It's not like they're not getting enough good feedback. They don't allow themselves to feel it.
Wow.
And the second part,
Amrita, I'm sorry. I'm not making personal attacks on you. It's, you know that this is all self-harm, right? So we are just talking here. And if anybody is, and I should have really put a conditions apply on this chat that if anybody diagnoses themselves with imposter syndrome, the management is not responsible. And okay, continue, Mansi.
right. So the next either you go on this path, or
Yeah.
the second path is that you're given a task and you're so full of doubt and you feel like, okay, I'm not capable of doing this as good as other people, so you try real hard to put in as much effort as you can, like
Right.
work extra hard, get stressed out about it, do all of that,
Hmm.
and then you put in so much effort and you really make something good. Then you get positive feedback and you're like, oh, but I mean, I put in so much work, इतनी
ये तो
मेहनत तो
बनता है.
right,
हाँ.
इतनी मेहनत में तो इतना रिवॉर्ड मिल नहीं वाला है, मैंने ऐसा क्या कर लिया. And then again, you're not allowing that positive feedback to help you feel good about yourself.
Oh
So-
God. Yeah,
So this
nothing.
is
I'm just reevaluating my life.
That's the fun bit about psychiatry and psychology.
Oh,
Like
God.
everyone, if I'm talking to a patient and their relatives, I can see the relatives kind of zone out and start reliving their own lives. So yeah, that happens.
So
But-
what is the right amount of effort?
I think what really matters is that you've achieved.
Right.
Some may achieve it with minimal effort, some may achieve it with a lot of effort. What
Right.
matters is that you achieved. That is what matters, and that's what you need to tell yourself.
Correct. Wow. I mean, that's what Krishna also said. I mean, it's such a circular thing. Like, just see the result. Do not, like, just put in your effort. Don't see the result. Like, just put in your effort. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, we should have listened.
Right. I mean, at the end of this talk, I was actually going to say that we all need to take ourselves with a pinch of salt.
Wow,
I was
okay.
going to say this at the end of the talk, but
Yeah.
I'm saying this right now because,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a good time.
Yeah.
We seem to really feel, oh, I'm feeling this today, it's such a grave emotion. I am feeling that today, it's such a strong emotion.
Correct.
सब fleeting है,
Right.
सब कुछ fleeting है. आप कौन से बात को सच मानोगे? So just take yourself with a
Scam
pinch of
है.
salt.
सब scam
So
है.
these are the in your words, life is a big scam.
Happiness is a scam. Emotions are the definite scams. 1 second. Chinmay Sardesai, thank you so much. I'm only scared of doctors with imposter syndrome, he's saying.
I think you
Doctors
should
do
like them
actually.
more.
Yeah.
I think all doctors, but you should like them more because the doctors who are always in a little bit of self-doubt, they will keep on updating themselves. But trust me, imposter syndrome does not make you take wrong decisions. It only makes you doubt yourself. You may or may not do something. I mean, you may either procrastinate it, but you may put in a lot of effort, but your decisions are not going to go wrong.
Correct.
Unless your anxiety, depression, and all of that.
Correct.
So in a way, I feel if you understand you have this, and if you're able to tide over it without getting a lot of other affective components, I think it's a healthy thing to have because
Yeah.
it makes you constantly, look out for something and for constant growth.
So I like speaking of doctors, and I mean I'm just going to relate a personal thing here. So when I was doing my residency, I was in KEM and I was doing my MD medicine there, and I had in my KEM is like really like it's a busy place to work in, and a medicine residency over there is just crazy.
Absolutely,
So you spend like 3 days and all without sleeping, and it's just really like because of the number of patients that come in and all that. And in my after some time I started getting used to the schedule and all, and I was managing to take out some time to do other things like poetry and stuff. And there was a point in the middle where I realized that like I started feeling that because I was doing other things, maybe my performance in the hospital is not as good, even though results wise there was nothing too much to discriminate, but you start getting that sense that, okay, so because other people aren't doing all this, and you are, maybe, your results are going to suffer, it is going to show up somewhere, and people are going to realize that, okay, this is not how it should be done, all that. And it takes some time. It takes time before you can settle down and realize that, okay, this is just the way you do things, and it's okay.
Right, it's okay, right. No,
Okay.
but what you said is very much true. Like, I would like to cite one example from my end.
Yeah.
So I had kids and I didn't go for any conferences till 3 years because I had them like back to back.
Right.
But when
Sure.
I went, when I did go for a conference, I saw a couple clicking photographs, and I just thought they were clicking a selfie and they were not able to do it. So I just offered to help. And there was a 1 minute conversation, like just a 1 minute conversation. And then they told me that we are the organizers, we are the organizing secretary of an all India level conference. I didn't even know who they were. Like, I didn't know they were big people.
Right.
And they said that we'd like you to be a part of it. In my mind, the first thought was like, oh, I think it's the dress. Can you, I mean, now this is exactly how an imposter syndrome person would think. I thought that, okay, I'm presentable. It was a decent formal outfit, but I felt that, okay, I think I look presentable, and that's why they want me to be the master of ceremony. Now, being the master of ceremony involves a lot of tasks, but I just thought, oh, I think it's the outfit. I took all the credit away from myself. That's exactly how an imposter would think. So I read one example where a guy said that if I can do astrophysics from Stanford, anyone can do that.
Wow.
That's the extent to which they disregard, but not all of us have it to that extent, but we do have it. So now there are various types that they have spoken about. There's one that is usually seen in high achievers, people who are really at good position, the CEO of a big company, the MD of a big company, having chronic doubt about himself or herself and constantly trying to, put in extra effort to prove himself time and again. It's not like they want to prove it. It almost seems like they're just doing it to prove it to themselves. Like the world already knows what they are.
Okay. So technically they've achieved everything. They're at the top of the ladder, so to speak, but they're still not
not satisfied.
Yeah, they're not satisfied. They still think that they have to prove something. Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Then in women, like they've spoken about 5 categories. I don't want to talk about all of them.
Okay.
But there's one that is seen in the perfectionist people. So the problem of people who are perfectionists, like we said, they set an unusually high standard, a very, very unrealistic standard. Also, they find it very difficult to delegate work, because once they delegate work, they are not gonna like it क्योंकि उनके level का नहीं है. So since they don't delegate work, they end up overworking,
taking on more,
stressed out, taking all the burden on themselves, getting stressed out. So the thing about stress is that in little amounts, stress is good, like it's a protective phenomenon. But when it becomes chronic, it's a problem. Your hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis is activated, which leads to a lot of cascade of other reactions.
Correct.
And that's when you start having various physical chronic inflammatory illnesses. And these people can, in the long run, can have anxiety, depression, sometimes even various body aches.
Exactly.
पैर में दर्द हो रहा है, somatization, that's what we call it. पैर में दर्द, हाथ में दर्द.
Yeah, we had spoken about this when I talked about depression, of how so the HPA axis that you mentioned, it is basically activated when your body is under attack. So supposing an infection attacks you, your HPA axis, rises to the occasion and tries to fight the illness, tries to fight the infection. But here there is no infection, but your body starts thinking that there is. And so it starts to act like, oh, I'm not well, I'm feeling sick, I can't go to work, my body starts aching, all that. 1 second. I don't know why people are saying they feel attacked. Guys, this is weird. None of this is personal. Amrita is saying Dr. Mansi is literally reading my mind. The inability to delegate is bang on. Okay. Shruti, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Bhaskar Guram, don't feel proud of work as others can do better. Okay. That, like the sense that I did well, but others could have done it. Yeah, others could have done it better.
I think that's very normal.
Yeah.
I think that's not imposter syndrome. you would call yourself, of course there'll always be someone who can do it better than you, but if you're able to feel good about your own work, while that thought is there, like both of them can coexist. You can always know that someone else can do it better.
Beautifully
but if
put.
you are able to feel the reward, then I think that's normal.
Correct. And also it's again binary, right? Perfection or nothing. ऐसा नहीं है. It's a spectrum, and you are here. There are so many people above you, there are so many people below you, and that is always going to be the case. Always.
For yourself also, you are here today, you're here tomorrow, and you're going to be there some other day.
Exactly. All right. Anson Sam, thank you. If humility is a reason, can imposter syndrome be positive?
Humility? Well, I mean, of course, imposter syndrome can have some positive effects, provided the extent to which it is not too much,
right?
Provided it's not debilitating. And I mean, humility per se is a virtue for the other person. I don't know how much it helps me being humble. Does it really help me being humble? So it's a virtue for the society. It's a virtue for the collective conscious. Of course, I'm not saying I want to be arrogant. There's a difference between being arrogant and being humble.
Right.
उसके बीच में भी एक range है. Humility, I feel, is something that is good for the collective structure.
Very nicely put. Correct. Society wants you to be humble.
Society wants you to be humble. It's a good word. I mean, it's a good quality.
Thing.
It's a virtue.
Yeah.
But आपको उससे बहुत ज़्यादा benefit as such नहीं होता है, because if you're not humble, it's not like you're going to be arrogant.
नहीं,
you're still going to be humble.
नजर लग जाता है. If you're not humble, क्या बात कर रहे हो? It's a scientific thing, yeah.
So, you know, when I say this, humility, आपको क्या फायदा? It might sound very contradictory. I'm totally pro humility.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you don't become arrogant because you're not humble. You may still be somewhere around there.
Correct. Got it. Aditya Sharma, as a perfectionist, I feel that this trait brings out the best in you, but you end up never getting satisfied. It's a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. That's the thing with perfectionist people, you know. They do better than everyone else, but they just can't feel it. Like that emotion that should come with it does not come.
Yeah, that is so true. One thing that I realized, Mansi, about when we talk of imposter syndrome is that you spoke about it in a corporate culture, like the CEO and all, and you spoke about it from the point of view of women, which like I get like the multiple roles and the inherent stress that society sort of tends to put on women a little more than it puts on men. Like it's like a different kind of stress. And maybe like on a different topic, we could talk about that in a little bit more detail, because I do find that fascinating, especially now when the like the work culture and the environment is now becoming so similar for men and women. Like it was not the case maybe 10,000 years ago, but now like you are morning to night, exactly, you're going through almost the same things. So then the differences in the way stress is put it doesn't make sense anymore. So we could talk about that on a different note.
We should.
Tell me about the common public and the kind of imposter syndrome that we feel virtually now.
Right. That's something that everyone will be able to relate to.
Yeah.
So the social media imposter syndrome. Right? I mean, all of us, anyone who's on Instagram, anyone who's, putting stuff on social media, we're all putting the best curated images. We are putting the most ideal versions of ourselves out there. Of course, I mean, behind every good pic, there's another 100 pics that are not so good. So we're trying
and you put it saying #no filter, but then what about the other 99?
And candid, like #candid pic of the day, but it's never the candid pic. So while we are doing this, and once you do that, people, like, you've created a persona, you've created another personality on social media,
right?
And then everyone starts feeling this sort of a pressure to live up to that personality. So let's assume Siddharth Warrior puts these, amazing.
Okay. I hope you are all happy. I hope you're all happy. You've been complaining about personal attacks, imaginary personal attacks for the last 1 hour.
I'm directing one.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Okay,
I've
Mansi,
just
continue.
displaced the attack from them to you now.
Okay, continue.
So,
Hit me.
so Siddharth Warrior, who puts these like amazing tweets on Twitter. Now that there are so many people who always expect him to always talk something really crisp and something really cutting edge. He might at some point of time feel that, okay, if I talk something normal, it
Yeah.
might not be enough. So that's not gonna happen if you're aware. I'm just saying. So this is what happens if
I'm gonna cry now.
Siddharth, you're in the hands of a very good psychiatrist.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Thank God.
So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, another example, like, okay, a fashion influencer.
Yeah.
Now this person is always putting up, good fashionable clothes and always decked up and all of that. This person virtually lives in a fear that what if people see in my real avatar? Because what she's been projecting is the persona, is not the actual true self. Like
She or he.
She or he, everyone.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we talk about fashion influencers, everyone does that, right? I mean, I'm putting out all psychiatry content,
Yeah.
and if I may sound like super intelligent here, but then there'll be times when I will say something really stupid.
Yeah.
So otherwise it would have passed off as nothing, but then now if there's a certain personality created, you are worried about how people perceive you. And so that keeps on putting a sort of pressure on everyone. And then we all start feeling that I'm not really showing my real self. I'm an imposter. I'm tricking people. I'm showing them only the good bits, only the ideal bits. I'm not really showing everything to everyone.
Which is so ironic because here you have created the expectation yourself. Society didn't say anything. Society didn't say कि आ जाओ Instagram पे, you just show us this part of you. You created your own expectation.
And then you got trapped.
And then you get trapped, and then you have to live up to it, and you feel like you can't live up to the expectation you have only set. Oh God, why do we do this? Why are we doing this? Okay.
Right. And I missed one very nice one beach mein. So there's another kind of imposter syndrome, which is the superwoman or superman syndrome.
Wow.
So now this is superwoman syndrome is generally seen, I mean, I know very clearly of mothers who want to be super moms. So they want to manage their work front equally well. They want to take care of the baby really well.
Yeah.
Ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karwana hai. They want to keep the house prim and proper, everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one example that I always say, like, if you're the superman or superwoman, you still need your fuel to last for a couple of years. You know, you can't dive right now and then be exhausted somewhere midway.
Yeah.
So these people, because they are trying to do something perfect, everything perfect rather, all the time, they take away all the time that they would have gotten for their own self, for their rest, for their recreation, any of that.
Right.
And then again, the same HPA axis, the same chronic inflammatory processes or anxiety or depression, all the fear of failing, the fear of not being efficient, the fear of not being able to, or the fear of delegating work.
Yeah, dude, that's so true because so we have been in high pressure situations, like before an exam, we just we want to like give it everything you have for like 24 hours, study and get that exam done with, and that is a high pressure situation and your stress level is high. But when you are describing, say, a super mom, it almost sounds like the last day of an exam for life. Like every day is that day.
Micromanaging everything but every day of your life.
Okay, that what do you do about that? How do you?
So I mean, about the superwoman syndrome or the super mom or the super telling people that it's okay to not do everything perfectly. Choose your battles wisely, pick your battles. Like, there should be some fronts where you really want to do well, right? I mean, you don't want to ignore your kids, you want to take care of them well. But then it's okay if your room is a little messy, if it's okay if you're not really well put up every day, every time. So being okay with your imperfections and having realistic standards is how you deal with it. there's no such thing as perfect. There's no such thing as superwoman, supermom. It's something that one shouldn't even try to be.
It's just constructs.
These are constructs, self-made, society-made constructs.
Correct. They should just
And
listen
like
to.
we know,
They should just listen to that John Legend "Perfect Imperfections" wala, that line in that song. All of me, yeah, like they should just listen to that on a loop.
all
Realize
of
that, yeah, it's just perfect imperfections. It's fine. Imperfections भी अच्छा ही है, ठीक ही है. Right. Go ahead.
So when I mean, I keep talking about this superwoman syndrome a lot. Even if it is super, like for a male, it's superman syndrome.
Yeah.
There are many males also who would want to be perfect everywhere.
Yeah.
What one needs to understand is that we all have a very, very different internal construct. Everyone has a different internal construct. Some would have certain strengths and certain weaknesses, like
Right.
each one of us.
Right.
Understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and understand your resources. That okay, I can't do these things well. How do I manage them? How do I deal with them emotionally, as
Right.
well as how do I learn to, like, if my weakness is not being able to delegate work,
Hmm.
then what are my resources? How can I deal with it? I
Right.
think not just for a superwoman man syndrome, in general for life, one needs to understand your own internal construct very well, and based on that construct, define the expectations you would have from yourself, or based on that construct, expect things from yourself.
Correct. What I've come to realize is that so there is nothing like inherently stressful, because it all depends on your level of sort of expertise in dealing with stress. So
Absolutely.
right, so the like I remember in my first MBBS exam, the anatomy exam, like I had like 6 chapters and that was stressful. And then like 10 years later, 6 whole textbooks full of chapters is like theek hai, because you've figured out how to do it. So similarly, like the supermom concept also is relative, right? Like there are women who do it with much less effort and there are women who do it with more effort, because that's how you the way you're wired.
Capacity.
Correct.
Right.
The problem is that even before you start off, you are given this package ki this is perfection. Now do it. And nobody tries to reach there one after the other. They try to do everything at once. And that is not a fair thing to do.
Right. And like a standard expectation, even parents have such standard expectations from kids. पढ़ाई में अच्छा होना ही चाहिए, that they are like, they just disregard that he may be good in photography or he may be a good artist and all of that. So I think overall, well, I mean, you can't change your parents, but you can definitely tell yourself that these are my resources, these are my strengths, let me work on them. So I'll give an example of myself. Like, there was a point where I was like, I don't want, we have maid for everything, but I would not allow the maid to clean my room.
Okay.
I was like, मतलब जो साफ सफाई होता है, like the basic साफ सफाई, like I want to be perfect, I want to do everything myself.
Okay.
One day while talking to a patient, I realized I'm not able to do it. Like I'm just not able to do all of this, the kids, the patients, and the cleaning myself. And this was just like, I want to prove it to myself, and I know like where it snapped. I was like, okay, it's okay to not be able to do this.
Got it.
So I think to be okay is the prime thing. To be okay, like ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं.
Yeah, to be okay without making it giving up, because that is the problem, because people think that this, as soon as you relax, it's like you've given up, but there is a big difference between saying it's okay and saying I give up.
So what you're saying is like adapting and adjusting. Adjusting is like मैं कर नहीं सकती हूँ तो जाने दो. Adapting is like, okay, I can't do it, let the maid do it. So I think that's the difference.
Correct. And also, like, so we have already gone into like how to deal with it, because I'm just like, it's just a free flow of thought now.
Right. I don't think there's a structure anymore.
There's not a structure, exactly, which is exactly the point of what we are trying to say.
Right.
In that, when you try to do something, I think it's so important for us to realize that it is a continuous give and take. तो हम लोग कुछ करते हैं, उसका इफेक्ट देखते हैं, we will fail, we will succeed to a certain extent, we will fail to a certain extent, and then we will observe the failings, and then we will learn from it, and then we'll do it again. And this is how learning naturally happens.
Right.
But our level of expectation is such that first attempt में everything bang on, कोई गलती नहीं, कुछ नहीं. And if like you said 95 का 94 हो गया, मतलब you are not 1% less than perfect, you are imperfect.
Like,
Imperfect.
yeah.
And that imperfect could be anything. 40% हो या 94 हो, you are imperfect. वो बदलना चाहिए. That is, I think, probably imposter syndrome का main thing वही है कि level होता है.
Level hota hai. I mean, even in the illness, there's a range. Even in
Okay.
the illness, you have to understand that some may have really debilitating imposter syndrome, and some may have it to a certain extent.
Okay.
So the ones who have it to a debilitating level where they are so anxious. So see, I mean, someone who's really underconfident may have really good ideas but may not share those ideas. May have some really good plans, but because they don't think they are up to it, they might not carry them out.
Right.
So these are the places where these people cannot attain their full potential. And if it is so much that, you know, it creates so much anxiety and you realize that I'm not able to do things because of this fear, maybe that's when you need to seek help. But otherwise, just trying to tell yourself, like, having a book where you write down your achievements or the good bits and reading them time and again is a good practice. Telling yourself that it's okay to not know everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, सब कुछ हर चीज का 100% नहीं होगा मुझसे. Being able to accept that is another way of dealing with that.
So one quote that I had always put up in my in my notebooks, and just I think about this a lot, is that I don't know everything, but I can learn.
I was just gonna
just
say
that thought that ठीक है, I don't know but I can learn, and just that idea that I can learn is such a comforting thought, because it makes you realize that क्या है, I'll learn it.
कर सकते हैं.
उतना ही है ना.
It's not like a game that's over. You can do it.
Exactly.
I was just gonna come to this. When I say that it's okay to not know everything, it's about here and now. It's okay to not know everything today, but you should definitely try to improve that while you're going ahead. You know, you should definitely try to learn. Do you want to take something? Is there any question that?
I think there are lots of. Hang on, let me just go back to a couple of. So Chinmay Sardesai, also called catfishing on social media. Are you familiar with the term? No. One second. So is catfishing sort of like trying to be perfect on social media? Is that what it means? Maybe. Naman Singh, can you please talk about mindless things like Binod getting viral? Why is the public? I have no idea what this is, by the way. I mean, I've just seen the word a lot of places, but I have no.
I'll explain to you. I just read it.
Wait, what? You know.
I know it. That must be the only thing about social media that I know and you don't know.
Right. So you didn't know OP, but you know Binod.
I know Binod now.
What is happening, guys? What is happening?
I'm learning.
You are. All right. Okay. All right. So. No, catfishing is pretending to be someone else so that they can scam people. Acha, okay.
That is intentional. That's exactly ulta of what this is.
Exactly.
They are genuinely good, and they think that someday people will realize I'm not so good.
I'm not good. Correct.
So there was a pair that won Nobel Prize. And when they got to know that they're gonna win the Nobel Prize, they said, you know what, I had the worst weekend of my life. I felt so unworthy.
Right.
So that is how they are. Like, they're so good, but they feel they're not good enough. So since someone asked about this Binod thing, I'm not going to explain that. Someday we should talk about netizen psychology. I think it's really, it's very interesting.
Okay, done. Like how people online think. Also about the power of the anonymous. Like
precisely
exactly, like just you remove your identity, you remove the constraints of your identity, and it's such an ironic thing, like how your identity changes when you remove social constraints. Definitely.
It's like your id has got a place because there's no reality principle. Who's checking? Like, who's gonna come and put you a scale? There's no consequence to your actions, right?
No consequences. Correct. So I once thought of how anonymous accounts should not be called accounts because they have no accountability. There's
Right.
nothing there. You
That's
can't keep track.
That's a tweetable line.
Yes, I'll keep it for one day when I don't have anything else to say.
Right. So I did something on netizen psychology with a friend of mine, Vishal
Okay.
Tomar, but I think we should do it.
Yeah.
There's so much more to it.
Lovely.
It would be an interesting thing to talk about.
Cool. Awesome. When we talk about, now let's talk about why. Now I think we have spoken enough about what it is, and I think everybody understands. Let's talk a little bit about brain में क्या होता है. And Mansi, do you want to get it started? Do you want to start off the conversation on what happens, and then I can also chip in with a little bit of diagrams.
Please do. So 2-3 things. Like the first one I said, maybe it's anticipatory anxiety, which works as a protective phenomenon, which is trying to actually, because your mind is looking at this situation as a perceived threat.
Yeah.
It's not a real threat, it's a perceived threat. So maybe this is a sort of a protective mechanism where your body is preparing you for something that it thinks is dangerous. Second is what I said is the effort reward imbalance. Like this is what may happen. Thirdly, it's probably said that maybe imposter syndrome, not always, but in certain cases it could be actually symptoms of some sort of depressive features. Yeah. Not everyone would have it, but someone with depression will also not be able to feel any emotion as strongly, will be having some, self-doubt, decreased self-confidence. So they think that maybe this is also related to depression and anxiety.
Also because a lot of the same areas are being used in depression and
It's all the same, always. Psychiatry is just 4 areas and 4 neurotransmitters.
Wow, like that is all of human experiences simplified to just 4. Right.
But the proportion matters.
Correct.
That is all that makes all the difference.
Correct.
And there's intellectual doubt. Like one theory is about intellectual doubt. I think you could explain that a little better with the diagrams.
Yes, I can try. Hang on. Let's see. Start broadcast. Okay. So what I wanted to do was, so I think everybody is kind of familiar with the drawing itself. So like let's introduce the brain again. Can everyone see that? So there are the 4 basic lobes of the brain. So you have the frontal lobe in blue, you have the occipital, the parietal lobe in orange, the occipital lobe in pink, and the temporal lobe in green. And Mansi has disappeared. Mansi, are you there? Okay. Hello, Mansi? Okay, I hope she comes back. All right.
I'm here. Just
okay, cool. No problem. So, make it larger, really? Okay, 1 second. And there you go. So, what happens in the brain when we think about... So, imposter syndrome is like a larger heading, but think about it in terms of self-esteem. Are you with me, chat? Self-esteem is when you evaluate yourself. Cool. So let me just write that down. Self-esteem is when you evaluate yourself. Now let us take each word one by one. When you evaluate yourself, the idea of you is when you talk of identity. So who you are depends on what your identity is. And when you talk of identity, there are 2 things that you have to remember. Identity is your ability to be aware of yourself is 1. So self-awareness. And 2 is your memory. Because when you talk of who you are, so if I ask any one of you, who are you? And all the things that you say, all your replies, that this is my name, I'm coming from this place, this is what I've done, I've studied all these things, all those things are actually your memories. So interestingly, the part of the brain that contains all your memories is the temporal lobe, and the part of the brain that is aware of yourself is this area in the frontal lobe, which is the orbitofrontal cortex and the insula. So these two areas put together will give you a sense of who you are. And whenever we talk of evaluate, so I think that we spoke about this in the last stream when we talked of procrastination, that there is an area in the frontal lobe here which we will call as the V area, which is for value. And the full form of V area is ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And this area will apply value to everything. So this is the area that applies value to who you are, what you are seeing, what you are thinking, all of that. This V area will apply value. And finally, when you evaluate yourself, what you are actually doing is you are saying how much value should I place on this identity or this action, this thought. And here it depends on what society thinks. So the idea of yourself comes from what society thinks about you. And so here there is this whole other network in the brain which is just dedicated to thinking about what other people are thinking. So you can call it empathy, you can call it social skills, anything. So it goes by different names, but there is a whole network in your brain that is dedicated just to figure out what somebody else is thinking. So this is, you can call it char log kya kahenge. So this is the network, char log kya kahenge network. So these three networks put together sort of give you the idea of self-esteem. Okay, cool. So that is all the neuroanatomy I'm going to teach today. And Mansi, now we can continue our conversation.
Right. So I mean, I was hoping that you would also explain the rewards.
Yes.
But
Okay.
that's too much. So if you can just quickly.
Yeah. So there is this one area here in the temporal lobe, which is part of the limbic system. So the limbic system is the part of the brain in the temporal lobe that deals with emotions. And the one of the part of the limbic system is called as nucleus accumbens. And this is where the hormone dopamine comes in. And every time dopamine hits this place, you get a reward. Very simply. So every time you do something that your brain thinks is good for you, evolutionarily speaking, so you find a good mate, you find some good food, you find a good house to live in, you find a good job, you get power. All of these things are good for you evolutionarily. And so dopamine hits that nucleus accumbens and you feel, wow, great, this is what I should be doing. And you feel what you call happy, which is why I mean happiness is a scam, because it's just a neurohormone hitting a receptor. But anyway, I hope you're all happy. Yeah. Continue.
Right. So we spoke about how nucleus accumbens should get the dopamine, and when it gets the dopamine, you feel that sense of, okay, this is great.
Correct.
The problem with these people is that even if dopamine goes and hits over there, they don't really feel that sort of greatness that they should feel. So this experience is not registered as a positive experience. They don't internalize, because they didn't feel great. They don't internalize the positive feedback they got, and because of which, though they are wired since their childhood that achievements means self-esteem, but here it's not an alignment. Here achievement is there, but like there's no change in the self-esteem.
Right.
Instead, they keep on going in self-doubt, because now even their belief is questioned. I kept like they're like, okay, I thought achievement would make me feel great about myself, but it isn't. So maybe I didn't do enough, and they keep on doing more and more, and it keeps on repeating.
Yeah, and we have we have all felt that, I think, where you are looking forward to achieving something and you think this is it. ये हो गया मतलब I have no like I will be happy, I will be satisfied, and then you're there and it doesn't feel that good. Like it's okay, it feels good, and it's also crazy how quickly you get used to it. That happiness goes, yeah.
So that is, so they said, I mean, it's said that reward center, like this whole process of getting a reward, it also has a tolerance. So if you've done something of this size, say I spoke in front of 100 people, the first time I felt great. The second time, I'll never feel that great if I'm talking in front of 100 people, unless there's some variation.
Correct.
If the crowd changes, like if it becomes some scientist, I'll be really happy.
Yeah.
But if it's the same 100 people, then I've grown tolerant to that. Then I need it to be more than 100, 500, 1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Something new.
Something new, and something new. I mean,
something
that's about
new.
it.
Something new. That's what our brain wants.
Novelty all the time.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
Right. So these are few theories. And Siddharth, do you want to explain the intellectual doubt theory yourself?
Right.
Read about it?
No, I think you are the better person to explain it. I'll use the diagram if I feel that I can help out. But then, yeah. Can I just 1 second? So Lavina, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're finding these streams helpful. I'm finding this stream helpful, to be very honest. चार लोग क्या कहेंगे, so that I think people understood that yes, चार लोग क्या कहेंगे.
Self-explanatory.
Yes, I like it though. I never thought about it that way, by the way. I just figured it out that that's a good name for this network.
It's a good name.
चार लोग क्या कहेंगे network. Naman Singh, thanks. Please plan a separate stream on online social psychology. And also do neuroscience of weed, tobacco, alcohol, how to get rid of addictions. So addictions is a good topic. I mean, there are a lot of people
which also follows almost the same
things,
pathways,
but
right?
with some differences. Yeah,
of course, lots of differences.
Yeah,
yes.
Correct. All right.
I mean, online social psychology is the same thing. Netizen psychology. I think it's very intriguing. We should talk about it.
Yeah, we will definitely do that.
Right. So this was
should I draw a cleaner diagram? Or is this...
No. I think this is good.
Okay, this is good. All right, continue.
No. This is good. So we spoke about the reward center, and this reward center will also take dopamine to various other areas.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. We spoke about the hippocampus also.
Yes. Yeah. 1 second. I'll
Hello?
just... Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Mansi, I can hear you. Tell me.
Okay, no, sorry. Okay, all right. So then there's the intellectual doubt theory, which I'm not entirely sure how the whole neurotransmitter thing works. So I think I'm going to skip that. So,
okay. The intellectual doubt thing?
Yeah.
So the idea is very simple that you have an idea of what your expectation is. Your own level of expectation is, so that comes from this area, the OFC insula. So that is where you have an idea of who you are and what is your motivation. So the idea of motivation comes from like who you want to be. And there is another area higher up called as the D area, which is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and that is where all your actions happen. Right. So this is where you do things. And so this connection between your motivation and your actions, if they are aligned, so who you are is what you do, and they are perfectly in keeping, then things are fine. But then if there is some imbalance between them, your own level of expectation versus what you are doing versus चार लोग क्या कहेंगे. So now the loop extends to social feedback. So now what you do and what effect it happens, and then what your mom, dad says, what your friend says, what your teacher says. If this loop doesn't close perfectly, then your limbic system is unhappy. Then your limbic system is like, कुछ तो गलत है, something has to change, and that stress comes from it's some version of fear. So that is where this other area here called as the amygdala, that starts getting activated. And now
Sorry. So even for the reward center, the amygdala is also getting some dopamine, and even the D area is also getting some dopamine. So all these are actually the same areas that are involved.
Correct.
Go ahead. You get done with yours.
No, so then this is when you start to doubt, that is when the fear creeps in.
Right.
So as soon as you start to do something, now say I want to give a speech. I want to go up on stage and I want to talk to 1,000 people. I have prepared my speech. I know what I have to say. Just before going up, this thought comes in. What if I forget my speech? And then the fear kicks in, because now my brain is thinking, log kya kahenge? People will judge me. People will, all that self-respect that I have, all the respect that I've gained will all go away. And then amygdala's triggered more and more. And then the doubt is increasing. And then they'll be like, people will understand that I'm actually a very poor speaker. Just as I have always suspected I am a poor speaker, now people will also know.
Right. So now that's another proof for them, right? Correct. I mean, that's like another added confirmation that, okay, now, this is again the same thing.
Yeah.
So, so these are, with the reward center and this intellectual self-doubt, these are the two theories that are based on neuroscientific evidence.
Correct.
But what they say is that we still don't have enough fMRI. See, I mean, all of neuroscience or neurobiology is what I call it.
Yeah.
All of it is totally based on the functional MRIs,
correct.
right? But there aren't enough functional MRIs. And to be honest, even though it was reported in 1978, people only started studying a lot of these patients in the last 6 years. Like,
exactly.
In the last 6 years, the maximum papers came out. So we still aren't there. These are proposed theories based on what could be the stressors, but we don't really know what exactly is happening.
It's an exciting 10-15 years ahead. I'm really looking forward to it, because the more you realize about networks and how they work, I mean, in a way, the mystery will never go away completely. Like, there will just be another level of mystery. That's all. So, people...
It's so much validation, right? I mean, it validates that, okay, what I'm feeling is real and I'm not making this up.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I don't think that we can make anything up, frankly. I think that because everything is neural circuits, I think we give ourselves too much importance that, we are making stuff. It's all happening.
Take yourself with a pinch of salt.
Yes. All right. Now... let's get to, so we've already covered what to do about it, but can we just sort of summarize?
Right. So first is having a lot of compassion for your own self, that it's okay. Like I said before, it's okay. Having a list of, I mean, for people who genuinely have severe doubts about this, like genuinely constantly feel that I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Having a sort of list of your achievements and going through them regularly.
Very interesting. So this almost sounds like narcissism. I don't know. Because it comes back to what I was saying last time, of how a little bit of narcissism is good. You need to be a little proud of yourself, right? Like what you've done.
Right.
You need to have that sense of achievement, and you have to allow yourself to do that. Humility, theek hai, but humility without any narcissism, any self-love, it has less value.
Also, some amount of narcissism is necessary for you to grow. See, even though I may have self-doubt, I also have some amount of self-confidence to try again, right?
Correct.
If I'm full of self-doubt without any amount of self-confidence, I'll probably not try again. I'll be like, okay, mujhe aata hi nahi hai.
Correct.
Right? Third is constantly positive reinforcement of whatever you're getting, like whatever you're feeling. If there's a positive feeling that you get after doing something, after achieving, so instead of telling yourself that, okay, I think it was luck, telling, maybe trying to reframe it as it wasn't luck. At least, I mean, even if it was luck, I should have some intelligence to be able to put at least so much together.
100%.
If you think, right, so you try to positively reinforce yourself, into doing these things again and again by just reframing your thought. So there's this wonderful concept in psychiatry, psychology, thoughts, behaviors, and actions. All these three have bi-directional arrows. So if you're thinking, I want to feel confident about myself, you actually have to think like that.
Yeah.
You might not feel it right away, but if you keep thinking like that, you'll start feeling that. So the first time when I say that, don't tell yourself that, oh, I just got lucky, or, oh, these people couldn't pick up, I'd missed so many bits. Instead, tell yourself that I think I did a good job. Even if I worked for 2 days, I still managed to put so much across. So that the first time when you say that to yourself, you're probably not going to be able to internalize it, feel it to that extent.
Right.
But when you keep doing that again and again, this thought again and again is going to change the way you feel, because all three of them are interconnected. This is one very strong way of doing it. So when someone said that you shouldn't be proud because others can do it better than you, of course, don't be proud of it, but don't take away the credit from yourself. I mean, you should tell yourself others may do it phenomenally well. Like, so if I'm making a certain amount of money a month, if I were to compare myself to Mukesh Ambani, I'd always believe I'm poor, right? You just have to think, I'm doing fine. So, or I did well. I think just reframing that is what is required.
So, that's interesting, because actually speaking, very few people compare themselves to Mukesh Ambani. You always compare yourself with your neighbor. And so then that's the thing.
Who you feel related to,
correct,
relatable, right?
Correct. But I get your point that reward yourself for whatever it is you have done. Reward yourself, because don't fall into the binary trap of saying that if you haven't reached 100%, then that means you are 0%. Like, it doesn't work like that. Okay.
Right. And by saying reward yourself, we know that it doesn't come naturally to you by virtue of imposter syndrome, but by being aware and by being conscious of how you think, being mindful of how you think, you can change the way you think, and then you can change the way you feel. So when I mean, all of y'all felt that, oh my God, this is, I mean, I have imposter syndrome and now we have a diagnosis. Don't be afraid of the fact that you probably have some symptoms. Rather pick up the last bits, understand why that happens, and pick up these last bits and tell yourself that if I want to change the way I feel, I should change the way I think. Initially, it'll seem like, I'm just saying it for the heck of it, but you won't even realize it, how it starts changing the belief in you.
Excellent. 1 second. Excellent. I think that this works. Okay. What else can you do?
I think that's about it. Those are the things. And compassion includes everything, actually.
Yeah.
Being okay with not knowing stuff, being okay with not being 100% all right, being okay with imperfections, also learn to delegate work. I mean, even though it is not just for imposter syndrome, but in general, I think it's very important for anyone to learn to delegate work, because one component is the superwoman, superman syndrome, or the perfectionism. And when you're trying to do that, you're actually taking away your energies. Like, instead of channelizing it in one direction, you kind of, spread it over everywhere.
Correct.
So I think that's one tip. But apart from this, I think ये तीन चीजें भी अगर कर ली ना आपने, तो भी बहुत हो जाएगा.
Because so couple of thoughts. One is that we are now living in a society where we are specialized for a reason. Like, सब लोग अपना अपना काम में अच्छे कर रहे हैं because they don't have to do everything. So earlier one person will have to build their house, start farming, सब कुछ एक बंदे को करना पड़ेगा, एक फैमिली को करना पड़ेगा. But now it is that you have people for things because they are good at that. So one person does not have to do it, right? So
right.
That idea of learning to delegate work, the concept कि सब कुछ मुझे ही करना है, is make sure that that thought is yours and not forced upon you by society, like given to you. So that is the only thing. And when you said compassion for self, I remember reading this quote somewhere that if I could be as kind to myself as I am to my friends who need help, I would be so much happier.
I know this quote. It's beautiful. It's very profound if you only understand truly what it means.
Exactly. Like when a friend calls you at 1 a.m. saying, okay, I'm in so much trouble, you are so patient with them. You're so kind, like, it's okay, it's going to be all right, you tried your best. You never talk to yourself like that. So then
And
that
what
is,
I also
yeah.
feel is that we know everything, but we all have our stressors. Like if someone's parent criticizes them a little bit, there's your amygdala starts working, like your limbic system starts working. You're not thinking, like you there's a reaction that sets off.
Correct.
When I'm talking of compassion for self, have compassion over there also. Understand that people have a right to criticize me or to feel that I've
Correct.
disappointed them.
Yeah.
I need to understand myself. I need to understand my construct, and I need to make peace with that, whether or not people like it.
Yeah.
Because it's only these resources that are going to take you ahead. If you are able to take criticism in a healthy way, well and good. But if it really troubles you, then have compassion for yourself even over there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because the idea of getting angry about what people said or upset about what people said, because you're so inherently linked to your emotions, that's why, So when you start disconnecting a little bit, then you also realize that they are also coming from the same neural networks, the same emotions. They're also driven by the same wants and needs. So then you start realizing that sabka gaadi chal raha hai. Let it. Okay, I'm going to talk about what the chat is saying now. I think I've ignored them long enough. I'm sorry. Okay, now where do I go back to? Till where did I read it? 1 second. Right, you guys have been very, very good. People have been saying ignore Binod, so I'm glad you did. People are very, very impressed that you knew about it at all. So, Mansi, I don't know what your people's opinion was about you, but now it's much better.
Oh, thank you guys. Every compliment matters.
Yes, because your value system increases, right? Like every compliment is a dopamine hit.
Right.
चार लोग क्या कहेंगे includes mirror neurons. Yes, Saksham Gupta, mirror neurons. So the concept of mirror neurons is still controversial because the idea of mirror neuron is about empathy, about what people want to do, what other people want to think.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
Sorry.
Yeah, I thought I could hear voices in my head, but okay. Cool.
Thankfully not. It was my phone.
Yeah. Chaitali has been like such a wonderful moderator, I have to say. So thanks, Chaitali, for that. Aditya Prasad has been very active in the chat. I think so. He has been very good in sort of trying to make sense of what we are saying.
That's good.
Yes, giving whole loving yourself concept. So again, narcissism, and I mean it comes up in the chat here and there. I just want to say that the idea of narcissism and the idea of self-love, like all of these are spectrums. So when you say a word like narcissism, it's like that whole 95% thing. Don't fall for the spectrum. Don't fall for the binary. Understand that it's a spectrum, and there is a sweet spot in all of these things. So find that sweet spot in everything, and you'll be, much better off. All right. I think Anandita is saying, I think what Dr. Mansi is saying is empathizing with yourself like you would with someone else in a similar situation. I think that's exactly right.
Precisely, right.
Yeah. Abu Bakr has said, say about Sixsociation. I'm not sure what that is.
I'm sorry.
Sixsociation. Sissociation. Okay. We'll have to check it out. What about external forces which say it's not okay? Workplace, society. So, okay, like I'll let Mansi, do you want to take that? External forces.
So, I mean, it again boils down to there would be places where it would not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like there would be some, in corporate cultures, there are going to be targets that you just have to achieve, and all of that. So where you have to do it, where you just have to, like, it comes to your livelihood and stuff like that, there you can try to put in your best.
Yeah.
But even over there, understand your construct. Like, there are some people who can't work under pressure, who can't work under domination. Then
Right.
try to find something suitable for yourself. I see a lot of patients. I know it's a drastic thing, but your bosses can really boss around as much as you can. Your job is to just get the job done and
Yeah.
not get affected. So if you understand, just like how Siddharth said, that if you understand that, okay, he needs me to get the job done, I'm going to try to do that, and not feel the emotions of disappointment or self-doubt and angers. That if you can, I mean, it's a huge thing to practice, but if you can do that, even all of these external pressures can be managed. And per se, I feel the pressures that come from parents, the pressures that come from society, I think our audience is a grown-up audience in terms of they would be plus 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I mean, try and understand that all of them will say whatever they think is right based on their own life and the lenses which, they used to look at the world at.
Sure.
You have to understand your own construct. Time and again, it's something that sounds very simple, but knowing your own construct means आप अपने आप को समझो. Your parents may expect everything from you, but
Yeah.
are you really capable of giving that? If you know you're not capable of giving that, again, have empathy for yourself, compassion for yourself. I am not capable of giving this.
Okay.
Be nice and firm and tell them, I know I'm disappointing you, but this is not something I can do. I just can't do it, or I'm not capable of doing it. I think that we also give in to the demands that are put on us. We also feel a sense that humko karna hi padega, and this pressure is what makes us at times very unhappy, and then they end up in my OPD. So I think understanding your own construct and trying to put across, not rudely but in an affirmative way, but that I think I can't do this. But
Right.
wherever you can push your limits, you should.
Can I just say that? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just seeing binaries everywhere now, because the idea of you should do it is a binary,
Right.
and the idea of I can't do it is also a binary, because the idea that it, probably you can't, the reason that you're saying you can't do it is because you think that there is only one way to do it.
Right.
So if you hold that as a binary, then you can't do it. But if you think of it as a spectrum, then you can say that I can do 30% of it, 40% of it, whatever. But that doesn't mean you can't.
Right.
And
right.
it is because we hold that 30% as unacceptable that we think that I can't do it. But even 30% is still learning.
Still learning, right?
Right.
So like
So,
I said,
yeah.
where you can push your limits, try to.
Exactly.
But I mean, if you don't want to be a doctor and your parents push you, maybe that's where you can tell them that
Correct.
nahi, ye main nahi kar sakta.
Correct. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's true. Wow. I hope that everybody found use for this. I know I did. Like I got a few moments of, oh God, is that what I've been doing? And I think that's the risk we take in having a series on psychology, and Mansi getting more and more personal as the series goes. I was afraid this would happen, and it is happening. All right.
Issues.
Boundary issues, I swear. So, okay, but I hope that people enjoyed it, and I think that we covered almost whatever we could. There was one syndrome that somebody had mentioned on Instagram that I think
Fregoli and Capgras. So these are actually, imposter syndrome is something that's very, very normal, something that can be seen just in anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Now, Fregoli and Capgras syndromes, these are seen in psychotic people. So, Fregoli is when someone who has something like schizophrenia or psychosis, they feel that there are certain people following me. Generally, persecuted delusion hota hai, and they feel that they are taking मेरे जान पहचान के लोगों के रूप में वो लोग आ रहे हैं और बार बार रूप बदलते हैं. Like if I have a feeling that people are following me, I feel that there are some people who are trying to do something against me, like conspiring against me, and they keep on coming disguised in the form of people that I know, and they
Okay.
keep on changing their
Like
disguises.
the faces.
Right.
Okay. So
And
this is part
yeah,
of like psychosis. I mean, it's not.
psychosis. It's
Right.
very different. It's very
Got it.
different.
Okay. I think that's probably like a different discussion then. I mean, it's.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, I think he meant not that association was probably like a spelling mistake. I think we unnecessarily had imposter syndrome about our own. It is
I know the imposter moment.
because we are like, oh god, हम लोग ने सुना ही नहीं है. But he meant dissociation syndrome.
Dissociation.
Yeah, and we had spoken about it in our Freud discussion. So Abu Bakar, I think you can go and check that out. It was the first discussion on Freud. You can go and see that. Paranoid personality disorder. We are going to talk about personalities separately because I think that deserves its own talk. So we will do that. And I think that's Mansi. I think that's about it. I think we successfully completed Imposter Syndrome.
Completed. I know.
This has been pending since a while, but I'm glad that we got to do it.
And I mean, I have to say, I don't feel like an imposter anymore. You know, after the session, I'm like, oh, I completed it. So
yes, you did. Very cool. I'm so glad. So what we'll do is, so next Sunday, we're going to take a break because I need to sleep.
Sure, please do.
Yes. So next Sunday we'll take a break, and then the Sunday after that we're going to figure something very interesting to do. Okay, so no promises, people, about the topic because we have like 2-3 things that we really want to do, and every stream something new is coming. So this netizen thing has to be done. So we will absolutely do that. But thank you everyone. Thank you chat for being so good. Please like, share, subscribe this channel. Go and follow Mansi on Instagram, and I think that's about it. Thank you, Mansi.
Thank you, chat, for being a wonderful audience. Take care. See you all.
See you. Bye.